Who can tell me by show of hands, who would know off the top of your head how to get to the grocery store? Who would be able to tell me how to get to Peshtigo, our neighboring town? Who would know off the top of your head how to get to Chicago? Yep, that's a little farther. It's a little more complicated than knowing right where to go off the top of your head. But one way we could find that is to get on our phones, get up Google Maps, and type in where we want to go. And then, boom, you have directions, turn by turn, tells you how long it's going to take, tells you what's along the way, restaurants, gas stations, convenience stores, so you know if you'll need to stop and get a snack or use the restroom or get gas. It takes all the guesswork out of traveling. But what if we didn't have our cell phones? What's some other ways that we can know how to get to Chicago? Right, we could use maps. That's what we had to do before we had cell phones. And we could follow the signs along the highway telling us which ways to go that lead us to Chicago. But what if we didn't have any maps? What if we didn't have any highway signs? What if we didn't even have any highways? That's exactly what Meriwether Lewis and William Clark faced when Thomas Jefferson asked Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to explore the new territory of the United States that we earned through the Louisiana Purchase. They knew nothing when they set forth on their journey. It was going to be a daunting task, and we learn in our textbook, our unit text, How We Crossed the West, The Adventures of Lewis and Clark, written by Rosalind Shawnzer. We learn through various journal entries made by Lewis and Clark about things that they had encountered during their journey. Now, this was a big task, far too big for 2 men alone. So it was with them, 7 other men, and 1 dog that they formed the Corps of Discovery and set off from Missouri to discover the new territory of the West. The expedition took 18 months, but they didn't know how long it was going to take. They didn't know what lied ahead. They didn't know exactly how much supplies they'd need. They didn't know what kind of supplies they'd need. All they knew was that they needed something for food and shelter and transportation and protection. Throughout this unit, we're going to learn some of the various accounts that they had written about within their diaries and all that they had to endure on their travels. They had to use things like their survival skills, their writing skills, their map-making skills, math, art, and anthropology. And we're going to be demonstrating many of those skills throughout our unit. We'll be creating a map, just as they had, that outlines the route in which they took from Missouri out to the West Coast. We'll also be utilizing math skills in determining what kind of supplies they need, like the amount of supplies they need, how far they're traveling, what rate was faster to travel, whether by land or by water. And we'll be using anthropology skills when we learn about the various Native American tribes that they encountered along their journey and how these tribes helped them in telling them which were safe routes to travel and helping them in gaining more supplies to help them see their journey through. And some art skills that we'll be using is more performance art when we learn some of the folk songs and folk tales that they had to say and sing in order to keep their spirits up, because this was a big, daunting journey and it can be really scary. So when you're nervous or scared about something, sometimes people listen to the radio, which they didn't have, so they would sing songs and tell tales just to keep their morale up. So we're going to be learning a lot about what it took, what all went into helping the United States become what it is that we know today.